Growing takes time. Ranch Systems has the tools to help you quickly get the information you need so you can get on with your day. Check your water, crop status, and weather from real sensors in your field. To learn more, contact us today.
Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with American Vineyard Magazine, reporting to you from the annual meeting of Sun-Maid Growers in downtown Fresno. I'm here with Harry Overly, now known as the executive chairman, right, for Sun-Maid. So at a new capacity, still serving the industry. Wanted to talk with you back as CEO during your time there. Sun-Maid acquired Plum Organics, okay, which is like a baby food company that really didn't have anything to do with raisins, and so some growers might be wondering, well, why did Sun-Maid invest in that? And you talked about that today in the annual meeting, and wanted to clarify that. You know, is it something that's going to obviously serve to increase the profitability and diversity of Sun-Maid, definitely as a business, but how is that going to help serve the industry as well, the raisin industry?
Well, I think from an industry perspective, it really plays off of what Sun-Maid's strategy is, in this case with Plum Organics. So, when I had joined the company, very quickly established what the strategy of the business was going to be in multiple pillars. So, fixing our raisin business, investing in our brands, etc. But there was an element of acquisition that was there. Now, that acquisition, there are many filters that we could consider. We looked at better-for-you, healthy snacking companies, so things that were growing, etc. And because, as you can imagine, there's not a lot of other products out there that are putting in 1 ounce cartons like we do. So you're not going to get an operational efficiency. So what we were looking for is when you look at acquisitions, you can look at them as a standalone where, hey, there's a business there that's growing. I want to get into that and support the growth. If there's operational efficiencies, that's great. In the case of Plum, we had a business, you get your hands on a troubled business that's not being run very well, but by the capability of your own team, you see the path to essentially improve that business significantly, which is essentially what we have done with Plum. Now, to go back to your question, how does it help the raisin industry? So it helps the raisin industry the same way it's designed, why Plum works for Sun-Maid. We, as Sun-Maid, are trying to get to the millennials, the Gen Z moms, and the kids. They're snacking. We call them the engaged explorer. We call them the balancer mom for Sun-Maid, the engaged explorer for Plum, but very attitudinally similar. What we have seen is we want to get Sun-Maid into the household. We want to develop a relationship with those parents as fast as possible. So there's no faster way than when the babies are there, right when they start. Yeah. And now we don't establish that with Sun-Maid, we establish it with Plum. And over time, we then start blending in the space where the toddlers start hitting that 2, 3, 4 range. We could start graduating them into a Sun-Maid portfolio, and we now have, through the means in which we'll market to Plum moms, we now have the database and access to essentially grow literally with those kids and market with those families and supply them for those better-for-you snacks. If we do that right, what that means is that we're starting with at birth. Right? We're talking to that household. It's not technically at birth, as you know. It's a little bit later when they start eating baby food. But what you create then is essentially a funnel of consumers that we now can funnel straight to the Sun-Maid brand. Now, looking at that more broadly for the raisin industry, it is now, at the end of the day, we have more people, if they're exposed to Sun-Maid, they're exposed to raisins. And the more people that we get tied into raisins and liking raisins and understanding how great they are and healthy they are for them, the better for the entire industry. So that's how the industry will benefit, bringing more people into the category.
All right, and you definitely have, from your presentation today, you've really turned that company around, right? It was kind of on a downward trend, and after a couple of, or year and a half, right, it's been, and changing the branding and, or, all those things that you got to do when you acquire a business, you guys have really turned things around there, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's, as I mentioned, you can buy a business that's on a growth trajectory. Typically, you're going to pay a lot for that because they know that they're on a growth trajectory. Or you could buy a very mature business, and that's going to be very stable, right? And you think you might be able to drive some growth out of that. So if we went and bought Spam tomorrow, or Cracker Jack or something like that, you'd have a pretty stable business. Plum, on the other hand, would be an example of a business that was broken. And however, Plum was the innovator of the baby food pouch. So it launched it and broke into the marketplace as an entrepreneurial brand a decade ago, and quickly became the #2 brand in the category. So there is tremendous equity with Plum. Consumers know it, moms know it, etc. Then once its former owner kind of brought it into their fold, it was part of a much bigger conglomerate at that point in time, and not uncommon. What happens in some of these situations is, that as part of a bigger entity that now needs to compete for resources to support that business, doesn't always win for those resources, which means there's just less focus on it. And we saw that as an opportunity when we looked at the business and inquired with the owner, and really outlined a plan with our board, and CoBank is a partner with us. Said, we think here's the opportunity of what we can do with this business if we were to get it. And the synergy is getting to mom. The benefit immediately to Sun-Maid Growers was the fact that now you have 2 businesses. So at the time I'm CEO, part of my salary is now covered by Plum, not Sun-Maid. So the cost of Sun-Maid goes down at that point, which helps their return, right? So we're essentially leveraging our resources to do more, right? And spreading that cost across these business units, which brings it down. Now, don't get me wrong, there are dedicated Plum resources too, in order to support the business. And then we look at what are the synergies. So the easy one is corrugate boxes, things like that the 2 businesses do share. Now we have greater scale, so can we negotiate more favorable pricing, et cetera. So between that and really establishing an innovation and growth strategy, bringing our customers into that fold, you can see the business, we've owned it 18 months. Our fiscal is another 7 months. By the time we hit the end of the second fiscal year of owning the business, it's going to be over 30% larger than when we bought it.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate your expertise in this. So thank you. And read more about these things in American Vineyard Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.